One man tried to blow up his employer with an airplane, and another pilot stole a helicopter and crashed it. Two different aircraft in two different parts of the world. Let's find out the facts on this episode of Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we've got a small airplane flown into a liquid gas plant by a fired employee with the intention of blowing it up. But first, the helicopter stolen in Australia and crashed into a hotel. A Robinson R44 four-seat helicopter registered as Victor Hotel Echo Romeo Hotel in Cairns, Queensland, Australia, was stolen from the Nautilus Aviation by an unknown pilot and crashed into the Doubletree Hotel nearby. Shout out to Glenn Watson for help on this one. The pilot took the aircraft on an unauthorized flight on August 12, 2024 in the early morning hours. The ATSB, the Australian Transportation Safety Bureau, reported the aircraft took off from the Cairns airport and was only in the air for a very short period of time before, at approximately 1:54 a.m. local time, the Robinson R44 aircraft crashed into the roof of the Doubletree by Hilton, located on the Cairns Esplanade in Cairns, Queensland. The Cairns Esplanade is a recreational area right near the Great Barrier Reef. News reports have the helicopter airborne for only 4 minutes. The pilot was a male and in his 40s. That's all we know at this time. The Australian is reporting that the man is believed to have once been an employee at Nautilus Aviation. During the accident, two elderly individuals in their 70s and 80s had minor injuries, were transported to a nearby hospital, but have since been discharged. The sole occupant of the helicopter was fatally injured. The aircraft was destroyed by the impact and the ensuing fire. The owners of the aircraft, Nautilus Aviation, a charter company, released a statement saying Nautilus Aviation are working closely with the Queensland Police Service, the Australian Transportation Safety Bureau, and other authorities as they investigate the unauthorized use of one of our helicopters in the early hours of this morning. The police have confirmed that the helicopter was likely stolen. What we don't know yet was motive and mission, whether the pilot was stealing the helicopter to take it somewhere or intended to crash it.
The ATSB is primarily interested in transport safety, so we will have to make a determination in the coming days based on the evidence, both the evidence that police gather and what we can gather from the scene, as to whether this was a transport safety event or something different.
At the time of the accident, the visibility was reported to be low. The temperature was 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 88% humidity, and the winds were calm. The ATSB has stated, "We know that a lot of stages of the flight from our witness statements, the helicopter was quite low. So whether or not that's been picked up by radar, whether the pilot has made any transmissions or not, that's something we will certainly look into." Okay, turning to the bizarre incident in South America, a few hours before the tragic crash of the ATR killing 61 this past Friday. A 46-year-old pilot crashed a small Cessna with the intention of creating a massive explosion. Tomas Scherer in South America helped me on this story. Thank you, Tomas. On Friday morning, Juan Manuel Medina took a Cessna 152 from his flying club, Alvear Aero Club, and crashed it into his former employee, Air Liquide Argentina, where he had just been fired. One report says the day before, another report mentions it was several months before, so we're not sure yet on that. The Cessna 152 is a small two-seat piston engine aircraft. I flew one for my private pilot training. The difference in the 152 from the 150 basically is slightly more horsepower, but pretty much the same size and shape for this story. They were built until 1985, and at its heaviest, it's 1,670 pounds. Most of them have a fuel capacity of 26 gallons, 13 a side. It's really hard to find a certified aircraft that's smaller than this one. The video shows the aircraft pitching down into the facility before crashing into the building. The company, Air Liquide, supplies and distributes gases such as hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. And when you combine hydrogen and oxygen with a spark, you get a highly explosive reaction, the same type of reaction that fuels space rockets. Medina targeted the plant during a busy time, intending to take out as many of his former workmates as possible. According to reports from the local fire department who responded, there were oxygen bottles nearby where the aircraft made contact. The local fire chief, Daniel Acosta, stated that the outcome was lucky. A concrete column lessened the impact of the aircraft, potentially saving a lot of lives by preventing a worse outcome such as an explosion. The pilot died in the crash. He was the only fatality. The fire department used foam to spray the surrounding area and had to clean up a fuel leak, but fortunately no explosion occurred. No more lives were lost. Authorities raided the pilot's home after the accident, and they seized electronic equipment, and during the search they uncovered that the pilot had sent a picture of what appeared to be a large explosion on his WhatsApp status. An interview with Medina's former flight instructor, Jorge Martinez, identified Medina as a capable and good pilot. Prior to the incident, Martinez had stated that Medina had complied with all the Aero Club standards and had no problems flying the aircraft. In both of these recent cases, no other people on the ground were killed, which is incredibly fortunate. Some of you might wonder how an aircraft can get stolen. Is it as simple as just finding the keys or hot wiring like a car? Well, these days, with desktop flight simulators getting more and more realistic, people can actually learn how to start and fly an aircraft. One famous case was the Horizon Air, the Dash 8-400 stolen from Seattle Tacoma by Richard Russell, almost exactly 6 years ago from the date of these two incidences, August 10th, 2018. He had been a ground worker and had taught himself to fly from internet videos. He did a couple of barrel rolls and eventually crashed on a sparsely populated island in the Puget Sound, killing himself. No others on the ground were hurt. Both the Cessna 152 and the Robinson R44 do use a key to turn on the magnetos, which then can provide spark to the cylinders. They both have small piston engines manufactured by Lycoming. Schools and flight clubs will usually have a system for placing the keys in the checklist. For Medina in Argentina, he checked it out from the flight club. He didn't steal it. For the Robinson R44, it is being reported that it was stolen. But to answer the question, how easy is it to steal an aircraft? I'd say you need to know how to start one, and certainly how to fly one. But more important, you need to know how to land one, and that requires a person to be a pilot. Additionally, most airports have some level of security to gain access, and this is true all over the world. At the Cairns airport, the police confirmed a security pad was in place, and the code is replaced once a month. And in Australia, you actually have to have an aviation security ID card to be inside a controlled airport. Police and authorities do generally check that. So that's the news for today. Thanks to our sponsors for making this report possible, like 67 Designs, the best camera, tablet, and cell phone mounts for your plane, your car, your boat. Check them out at 67d.com. I use them and absolutely love the made in the USA quality. And check out our other sponsors in the links below. And also thanks to our lead researcher, Micah Messer, for your help. And if you haven't seen the report on the Brazil ATR crash, it's right here. Thanks for watching. And remember, superior judgment trumps superior skill. Stay safe.